Hello, today we talk about 4-lane digital Scalextric. So these are some of the things, mainly what you're going to need to do the conversion the way I did it, at least anyway. You need a standard C7042 base. Need a digital lap counter that works. Need some, I just use some Cat 6, I think it's Cat 6 Plus cable, solder wire, I think something like 2mm heat shrink, cheap soldering iron, cheap glue gun, very cheap glue gun, some glue sticks, let it get hot, let it get really hot, crosshead screwdriver, Sharpie just that's for your own purpose if you want to use a Sharpie, set of side cutters, and I use long nose pliers when I was making my way between the two tracks. I'd just cut down and I'd broke the track, so that's what I use long nose pliers for. Now if your 7042 base is not running the 1009 firmware, I believe it is, well that's what it says on the display when you load it up, you will need to get a cable. That's a Ricoh Rocket cable. I believe I got that from eBay, I believe. And I'll show you the website. It's a SSDC website. I'll bring that up now. That page will show you, that will give you the rundown of how to do a firmware update anyway. So as I say, they're the bits you roughly need. You'll need to access Slot Forum, an online forum for slot car enthusiasts, and then search the page C7042 digital only plug-in 4-lane start, and that'll be your guide of how to do it. So this is what you're looking to end up finishing off with: 4-lane digital power supply. No, that's fine. So if you look inside, just make out each lane has got a digital ID sensor, infrared sensor. Now that will make this base only digital. You won't be able to flick this from digital to analog and count the laps on the extra 2 lanes for sure. I mean, if you wire it correctly and you don't get any crossover in polarity, you may be able to run that lane on analog and those lanes will be on 1 channel analog, but that'd have to be investigated. You'd have to do your double checking. Now this is the back side. It is rough, I'm not going to lie, it is rough. So basically there's your board you took from your early 6 car lap counter, digital lap counter that went with a 4-car power base in the early days. Well, I managed to use a sensor out of one of those instead of buying a whole new power base to get a sensor out. I haven't done it the same as on the slot forum, Ricoh Rocket slot forum thread. This base was faulty. This base, channel 1, I've caught the resistor next to the port by trying to plug it in by not looking, and it's blown it. So I've only got 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So I didn't really mind if this didn't really work. I was just happy to have an experiment. And say the one on the thread, he's got it, so you've got a plug for the board and you've got a plug for the extra power supply, so you can then remove your additional 3rd and 4th lane. I'm over that. So with this base, so this is just all this is all just practice, and let's have a bit of fun. So that's my way. Now the reason why this is actually a mess is because when I actually laid it out, this board was flipped the other way round. The reason, I don't actually know why. I didn't pay attention, to be honest, but that line needed to be in line. Start and finish line wanted to be in line. But what that actually meant was the IR sensor ended up being where that green block is there, either side. So you do have to flip that board over. Now, it does look a bit rough. Look, got that is metal showing there, but it's clear. It's clear with the other rail. It's solid. It's not going down. I might put a bit of I might put a bit of hot glue in there. But anyway, so that's the basics of that. And get it over to the track and we'll see what it can do. Laps in each lane, just to make sure the car registers in each lane. So here we go. Lane 1, we're on controller number 2 because, as I said previously, the port number 1 doesn't actually work. So yeah, that's a solid reading. I think this Sierra's seen the better days. Motor's seen some action. Right, lane 1 seems to be working fine. Don't forget, at the moment I've got no lane changes in, and we're just doing a test. Before I put lane changing capabilities on, I want to make sure it laps properly first. Yeah, no problem. It's lane 2. For lane 3. Yeah. All okay so far, which is good news. That's good. And finally, lap 4. Lane 4, you're probably getting very bored by now. Yeah. Alright, that's good news. So that appears to all be working. I'll throw a few lane changes in and I'll come back. Right, so as you can see, we've got the power base all linked into the track. That's just for basic lane timing, so you can ignore them bays. So we've got one at the end of the straight round the last little kink bend. I mean, the circuit is a figure of 8, so what I've tried to do is when you get on the inside, up here, you go around, you can click over to the next lane, and you get to the end there, and you click right back into the inside lane, so you can go from inside lane to inside lane. Now also, I had a spare lane change. I mean, really, you'd have 5 down the straight if you wanted to go from out to in, or from in to in or out to out. But I put this remainder one that I had on this bend here, just in case you wanted to shorten up this final bend. What it actually does, I find anyway, you can do a run where you can stay on these 2 lanes, take the inside line this end, take the inside line the other end on that rail, and it's actually quite a nice line. It's quite a flowing line. I mean, to be fair, they flow quite well. What it is as you know, when you're on digital, every time you go around the track in a different lane, it's like a different layout almost. So to nail a lap, sorry, and then change lane and nail the next lap, you got to be on your game. So yeah, there'll be a bit of learning to do, but yeah, all seems to be working okay. That just about wraps this video up. There'll be some footage of the cars going around the track, and thank you for watching, spending your time. If you can, press the button down below, that'd be lovely, and I'll see you on the next one. Right, so we've finally got it all linked up. There's a few lane changes in, as you've probably seen by now. I've done a little run round of the track, and just making sure that they all work at the moment. Got a clock where they all are. Hold it on that one. There's one just before the tunnel as well. It's not to think about, is it? I'm not getting a response out of this one here. I've got it.